Have you ever tried to recommend an anime to a friend, only for them to look at you with such disgust and immediately make fun of you for liking anime? Or they start blindly hating on anime for no reason? If you're like me, you've probably wondered, why? Well, in this video, I'll go over the 4 main reasons why people have such animosity towards anime, and hopefully give you a blueprint on how to convince your brain-dead friends on watching anime. Chapter 1. The Fandom. Unfortunately, some of the people who like anime are just extremely corny, and for a lot of people, this is their first encounter with anime. From TikToks, example A, to seeing kids Naruto running across the school corridors, and people started subconsciously associating this corny behavior with anime in general. So when people do recommend anime, they feel like if they try it, they also become a part of this corniness. So they project their feelings of not wanting to be weird by being hostile to the people who do like it, and say nonsense talking points like, "Anime is too weird," and "Only nonsense watch anime." However, recently, more and more people have been switching up on anime, and now actively liking anime. But you know why? Media exposure. Finally, after years upon years of being frowned upon, people who grew up watching anime are now celebrities, and are very open about liking anime. Like Megan Thee Stallion, Speed, and even A-Train?
Ultimate favorite, all time. Favorite character from Dragon Ball Z? Gohan Super Saiyan 2 Cell series. Like, if you had to get specific, you know what I mean? Yeah, I thought I was just supposed to get a tattoo.
Good news for the anime community, as this is doing heavy, and I mean heavy lifting, for the PR team of our fandom. And this could lead to people abandoning their blind animosity towards anime, and start liking it after trying to LARP being a fan of anime because their super duper famous celebrity loves anime. I wish I could have ended this chapter on a high note, but we do have to address the elephant in the room. Yeah, those anime fandoms. Yeah, so if you do ignore the few fans who make anime look bad and actually go into anime, you're quickly met with the community of the most miserable people to talk to, as many anime fandoms would crucify you if you even whisper a slight criticism about their favorite show. Trying to raise an opinion is pointless, unless it's a majority opinion, as a result creating a very toxic environment, leading to people having disdain towards anime, despite it being the fandom's fault. Chapter 2. Cartoons. From a young age, many people grew up watching cartoons, so when people do see any animated art form, they immediately associate that with childishness and immaturity, as cartoons predominantly are very child-centric, especially in the West. As a result, these presumptions lead to people brushing off anime as being mindless content slop for children, like how parents show their kids Cocomelon. So, when the topic of anime does come up, they're quick to hate and be stubborn about it, due to their held beliefs and biases towards cartoons that aren't clearly targeted towards an older audience. That's why there's so many people who hate anime but love animated shows like Invincible. The main rhetoric that anime haters use that epitomizes this point is, "Why would a grown-ass man be watching cartoons?" But that's the problem. Anime is not a genre. It's a medium of art. It's like saying, I hate music despite never listening to music. It's not like you hate all of music, you just haven't found the type of music that you like. Because everyone likes music. Well, except like deaf people. But you get my point. Anime is a very diverse form of media, spanning from horror animes to romance anime and everything in between. So, the next time someone says dumb, you have to point out that not all anime is like Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry, and how anime, despite being animated, can often depict very real, very mature themes very well. Chapter 3. The weirdness factor. To be honest, if I said that anime wasn't weird, I'd just be straight up lying, because at times anime can be very weird, especially to people who aren't very used to anime, from the exaggerated facial features to the over-the-top reactions, which are very foreign to people who only watch Western shows. And that's just because of different cultures, almost like a culture shock. However, these differences have been exemplified due to TikTok and other short-form content, which clip parts of anime that are very odd and give no context whatsoever. Therefore, enforcing the held beliefs that all anime is weird, which rationalizes their hatred towards anime. Chapter 4: Fanservice. Yeah, this, in my opinion, is the only somewhat valid reasoning to hating anime, because the fanservice can be very bad in anime, to say the least. And it's very reasonable to be put off by this, especially when it's very forced. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Demon Slayer. However, like a wise man once said, never judge a book by its cover. And this perfectly applies to fanservice in anime, as there are some very bad apples in the mix. But that doesn't mean all the apples are bad. But I don't really indulge in these types of anime, so I ain't an expert in this. So if there are any experts watching, then do leave your 2 cents on the topic. And now, we will do an interview with someone I know who hates anime, and try to understand the psyche and reasoning on why someone who hates anime actually hates anime. Chapter 5: The Interview.
Thank you for being on this interview. I want to hear your opinion about this thing called anime. Are you familiar about anime? Yeah. Okay. So, my first question. Do you like anime?
Like anime?
Yeah.
Who can like that absolute slop?
Whoa. Slop is a bit offensive, but go on.
Honestly, no substance, no storytelling, all hype moments where everyone can just conglomerate around. Like, what is this madness? What happened to an actual story?
Okay, I can hear your concerns, but how many animes have you watched then?
Well, I was about 7. Pokemon,
Okay, sure.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
Yeah. Back when it was amazing.
Okay, sure. So, what made you like those animes?
You know, it leaned into it. You know, like, all these stories are trying to be deep, trying to make you feel bad for these little pictures, but they're not real people. They don't have human faces. They don't have anything. They don't resemble us. We're human. Okay? So, like, how can I feel anything for them? I can't.
Okay, so like, let's take this idea and say, do you like the show called Invincible?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you like Invincible, but not anime. Why is that?
Well, no.
Take your time.
Well,
Take your time, think.
you set me up, haven't you?
How? Excuse me?
No, that's not a fair question.
How?
That's not because that's an exception. That's different.
Why is that different though?
Because not Japanese.
Oh, okay. So you don't like it because it's Japanese. Interesting. So, okay then. What would convince you to watch anime then?
Well, somehow, some way, if it had good storytelling,
Okay.
good action set pieces,
Yeah.
and somehow had characters that I actually cared for, whilst being an anime.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Well, maybe, but that's impossible. That never happened.
Would you watch an anime if those things were actually in there?
Well, maybe.
Maybe. So you are willing to change. I like to hear that. So, well, thank you for letting us interview you. And I do respect your opinions, but I feel like you're a bit ignorant, to say the least. Well,
Arigato gozaimasu.
Chapter 6: The Blueprint.
This is a joke. This is a joke. Please do not spike your friend's drink.